Hey guys, I'm Nixus, and this is the Skull of Herzeloyde, made June 4th, 2000, by twindreamer Bekken. So this is a pretty decently sized mansion mission. It's got a few interesting scripts in it, and hopefully I'll get to show those off really well. So, moving on. Okay guys, here's normal, hard, and expert.
Peaceful, isn't it?
Now, as you can see, this mission has some interesting architecture. You have the little roof there that's kind of interesting, but for the most part, it's not particularly detailed. Newer missions have a lot of little fiddly details on the faces of buildings, whereas these are still fairly flat, even though they have windows in various locations. That door up there does not actually lead anywhere, and you can't open it. This door is an exit only, because it requires a key. Now, he's got a sort of invisible key and access to open this, but we don't, so we have to pick the lock carefully and not get caught by this guard here. Quickly get into shadow, if we can. Just sort of carefully, because he will be... he's actually not very twitchy, but he will eventually turn this direction. Now these doors will close behind you, and it is the most annoying thing ever. Also, don't turn the light on. When you turn the light on, the next guard that patrols seems to sort of investigate more often. But not every time, so it's a little bit interesting how there's inconsistency, I suppose. There it is. I knew there was something, but I couldn't remember precisely where. There's some other stuff. You can grab this key, which is a basement key. But you don't have to grab the key here, and it's actually a little bit strange that it's there. It's not something that's really expected. So if you're not paying attention, you might miss it. Huh? Now, probably... Nope, okay. If you hit this guy when the patrol down there is in a specific spot, the guy down there will actually run up here and try and get you. He'll basically just want to investigate, and that's just sort of a hiding place for people to run away together. Sort of a romantic tie-in that occasionally happened in these earlier fan missions. Now, this mission did get 3 silver hammers, so that makes it one of the better missions. The highest would be 5 silver hammers, which is technically a gold rating. Now we do have to be careful here, because there's still a guard. This guy. We are actually completely hidden here, so we're fine. Now, you may have noticed that there's a speed potion up there. Good luck with that. It's doable, but it's not really useful. I guess there aren't too many straight shots anywhere, I guess, would be the way to say it. I can think of one instance where it may come in handy, but it's not really that useful, so I wouldn't worry about it. Now here is the more obvious basement key. Both of them have a copy of it. So, I think there's something like 4 basement keys in total. That's my thinking.
Thought I saw
also have this guy, who makes some odd patrols. I was not actually expecting that. I thought he patrolled all the way down here, but he doesn't. Now you do see that this is just a storage room. It is just a storage room. There's nothing here. So if you thought I was leading up to anything, I wasn't. There's some water arrows here, so now we have 20 water arrows. I guess that's kind of a big deal, but it's really not anything special. You're not likely to use all of them. There are enough dark places that I really can't see using every single one unless you miss a couple times. But you need to have at least 4, I think. That sounds about right. I think it's 4 that you need, like, absolutely. So don't use all of them. Now here's where it got a little bit interesting. You may have seen downstairs there were some archways in the bottom. Now you've got these sort of things here. So, I don't know. To me, it's a little bit interesting, and all things considered, although this was considered just an average mission, it was considered that the most notable part of it was the architecture.
What was that noise? Seems peaceful
I just have to
enough
wait
now.
for the patrol right now. I can't remember if he ever comes in here or not. I don't believe... Nope.
Something there.
Still out there. Now, there is nothing behind that tapestry or
anything
that
now.
tapestry. In fact, I don't think there's anything behind any of the tapestries in this mission. Here we go. Okay. Now, having looked at the Circle records and what their reviews said, one of the major complaints was about the plot, and some of it was about, oops, not gonna go that way. Ah, this is the exit, by the way, to the front street. There are quite a few patrols here that I'm keeping in.
Says the sir's been yelling at him over the dinners not being posh enough.
Sir's an idiot. It's not like we'll get more until the shortages are over.
Exactly. The sir just thinks everything should be back like it was in the fat years and won't hear of anything else.
Now, it's really easy to get caught here. If you stand too... So, okay, yeah, see, there we go.
Help! Save me!
You can pretty much just knock them out, though. What I got was the street key. It opens that one pathway. There it is. Now, I don't know where all the loot in this is, but I know that most of it's just sort of lying around in random places. So if you want to get every bit of loot without a walkthrough, I would suggest scouring every inch of everything. More water arrows in case you, of course, use yours. This is just sort of back room, probably for peeling potatoes or something. So there's a lot of sort of flavor rooms, I guess you could say, which is something that I'm both a fan of and not a fan of. On the one hand, I like it when there's a lot of rooms to explore and you don't always find something in it that's useful, but on the other hand, I really hate having to wander through empty rooms. Which I think that's how most people feel after a while of playing this game, is that, yeah, it's cool that you made, you know, a full-scale replica of a actual castle, but there's a lot of rooms you didn't do anything with and I'd like to find loot. I think that's how most RPGs go too. It's kind of how most games are. It's nice to have flavor rooms, but not when it gets to the point where you're wondering when you're going to be able to find something cool. So we have come full circle back to our point of origin. The only thing I'm here for are these. Yep.
Get the chopper!
Yep. I do abuse that glitch more than I probably should. And I'd like that health potion. Thank you. Now there is, as I said, nothing behind the tapestries. There's still nothing behind the tapestries. So, we're gonna keep going. There is loot in here and some flavor text. So we have a very interesting story that I'll summarize sort of briefly. It is very much like the story of Oedipus, in a sense. A prophecy or vision or something of that sort has sort of caused one man to be fated to die. Herzeloyde's son, in particular, falls under this sort of rule, I guess. He wants to become a knight, but she knows that he'll die if he does. So, that's about the actual entirety of the story there. Just so that you know, that's the entire story that we got given for this plot. That's what it is. So the Skull of Herzeloyde is just the skull of that one mother who didn't want her son to die, who may have been a prophet of some sort.
Something moved there?
or a vision.
All quiet now.
Seer.
Must
That's
have
the
been
word I'm looking
rats.
for. Had visions is a seer. Yes. There are 4 guards, I think, on this level.
Hello?
That's not an important
Is
number,
someone there?
but their patrols do
Hello?
overlap a little
Anyone
bit.
there? Guess not.
Okay, got him. Off to get this one.
Who's noising about?
Okay. That should have taken care of all the patrol guards. There's still one more that we need to sort of deal with in a specific fashion. I'll wait to go in that central room. Let's see. A mine which is... I suppose it's helpful. It's not really. Okay, good. He was actually facing the other way this time. And I just realized that I forgot to read something earlier. Okay, so as you see, we're after the Skull of Herzeloyde. Should have been obvious by the title, but I didn't really mention it. However, we have an informant inside. Who is our informant, you may ask? Well, it is the lady's handmaiden, who is in this room. Just let me grab some of this stuff. So, we get some inkling that the skull acts strangely. Now, I have to say, I've tried this to see if maybe my installation was messed up a bit, but it's not. This is an interesting little script. It looked like she was supposed to talk to us. She's not. She walks over there, takes stuff from off the table, and brings it here. You can take it directly from the table if you so choose. That's just an interesting little thing, though. So, skull room key. She tells us how many guards protect it, and to knock her out. Not particularly important, and not a very good informant, really. She could have told us that before we got here. And given us the key, for that matter. Would have made it look quite a lot better, I suppose. Especially because I left the note on the table there, just for fun. So, in that sense, I suppose I can see what was mentioned in the review way back when about the plot being a little bit loose, is that there are certain points that don't necessarily matter, I suppose. Now, interesting thing you may not have noticed is these. The noisemaker arrow and the diamond. So we're already up to 1,000 loot, but shortly running out of room to explore, I suppose, would be the best way to say it. There is also this. So we have retrieved 3 water arrows from random locations on the map. Okay, there's nothing in here. And I went over here already? Yes. None of the rooms up here matter now. We won't be coming back upstairs anytime soon. If I remember correctly, this is not the room that I am looking for. It is this room. And there's still nothing behind the tapestries. This is the library. It's not a very huge library, and it doesn't really have a whole lot in it. What it does have is 1 coin stack. And that's all. That's it. There's nothing else. That's just it. That's all there is. That's the second floor for you. I don't believe there's anything else up here at all. There's probably loot I'm missing. I don't look at a walkthrough before doing these, and I don't really bother to sort of scour every location. Now, we arrive in this room and immediately notice the bookcases are the type that move. You may notice the secret that opens them. You can't actually use that secret just yet. I'll show you why. My wisdom reaches high above me. Ignorance is folly. Only the fool kisses the ground below his master's feet. Very philosophical. Now, the secret, of course, is here. You can't press it yet, because the skull is acting strangely. You kind of read that in the little thing. Now, it's very bright here, isn't it? The only way you're really going to be able to even remotely sneak over there is to take out all 4 of these torches. Too low. Too high. This is the issue with this. Okay, yeah. There we go. And there we go. Now we are completely in darkness for a while. Because these windows don't actually lead anywhere. Now you can see the alarm button over there. Don't let them press it. It's just so much more hassle than it's worth. Oh good, that didn't alert him this time. Usually it does, and that can be very, very frustrating. Because he will immediately push the button, and then the alarms, there's no shut off for the alarms. So it takes a while to finish it from here.
What was that?
So, we got this is taken out. This has been. Oh, find the secret door of wisdom. I wonder what that could mean. For some reason, they opted to go with you can only find the secret after you've been told to find the secret. I don't really know why. Well...
It's a long way down.
I take that back. I know why. It's because if they told you that it was fine to go ahead and find the secret, you'd come down here, and the skull wouldn't be here, so you'd have to backtrack. So, on the... Okay, whatever. I'm fine with this. And not fine with that. No. And this is why I'm glad I picked up the healing potion. Despite being in the dark, sometimes the rope arrows are not so nice. More of this. We do need... Okay, so if you take out the 4 in the room up there, you need 4, but there are at least 2 others that I can think of that you need to, Tomb of Herzeloyde. I lost track of where I was. Anyway, we've ended up in the Tomb of Herzeloyde to try and find her skull. We're just gonna ignore the zombies and keep going. The architecture in here is quite nice for a tomb, but it's still mostly just sort of, I don't know, passageways and catacombs and sort of the normal stuff, which is pretty much why I say this is just...
This looks like the way out. That'll come in useful later.
Which is why I said this is pretty much just a generic mission at this point. Now then. You do need to be a bit careful here if you can hear the haunt. He's not supposed to be able to hear us that well. Oopsie. There we go. Problem solved. Okay. Healing potion. And the next thing that you can do... Pretty sure you can go down here some... Yep, there it is. Oh. Okay, so this happens occasionally, but, yeah, he's just a corpse. I'm not sure why that happens occasionally, but it does. It doesn't happen all the time, though. So, very strange, but the diamonds is the only thing down there that we want, or need, or require. And I don't think there's anything really in these side passages. So I'm going to ignore them and show you, first off, why we need at least the 1 rope arrow. And second off, why we need 6 total water arrows. Excuse me. Now you can do this in a little bit different order if you so choose. I should not have picked that up. I meant to pick up the fire arrow. I was wrong. I don't need water arrows. I need fire arrows. Don't use them on the zombies. You need them to open this. What is in here, you might ask? Well, herein lies Herzeloyde, the Night Mother. Take heed, shouldst thou set foot in here, be full of faith, for I am faith itself. Heck if I know what that means.
Got it.
It's just some pseudo-nonsense. Now, if you were listening, you would have heard the sort of holy music happening there. I don't really know what to call it other than that. Oh, I don't know how I managed that, but it turned into the run now where you're going to get crushed music, basically. I'm gonna ignore these guys. They're chumps. I'm going to show you what's down here. I forgot to bring another rope arrow. Doesn't really matter too much, though. I'm just waiting now. Waiting for this guy to die. Okay, problem solved. I don't actually think there's anything up there. I'm gonna hope there's nothing up there. Now, if you have problems getting out, you have 2 flash bombs with which to discourage the zombies. I don't think there's anything up there, so I'm not going to worry about it over much. There is something down here. There's this, and that's it. So never mind. There is one thing. Excuse me. I believe all our objectives are complete now. Yes. Alright, so we have the skull. Let's escape. Through the sewers. Which are, of course, right over here. Dead stuff, some other stuff. No loot, though. Some other stuff, some other stuff. Sewer west. And we're done, pretty much. So, as you can see, missed about 150 loot. I don't know, I don't always bother looking at a walkthrough before I do anything, and I usually don't like to either, unless there's something that I know I need to have down, you know, completely down in my head as to how it needs to be done. There's very few things that actually require a very specific combination that you need to memorize, essentially, that can't just be easily found in the game, so I usually don't bother looking at the loot walkthroughs either, because it doesn't matter so much to me. I can always just finish the game anyway, and this isn't necessarily a walkthrough, it's just a showcase. So, that said, the circle review said 3 silver hammers. There's bronze, silver, and gold. That makes it pretty much exactly the middle point, because it's out of 5 each time. Now, notable accomplishment was the architecture for the time. This was actually very detailed, and probably about as detailed as it could get for that sort of size of a mission, I suppose. One of the major complaints was about the plot. There isn't much of one, and by this point, most people have gotten tired of the sort of Bafford style with some zombies thrown in for a plot twist, I guess, which it keeps being overused. You can easily expect more of that. Anyway, I will see you guys next time.